Hola, hola, amigas. Welcome to another episode of Modern Latina in Midlife. I'm your host, Sonia Flores, holistic business and life coach and podcast producer and energy healer and intuitive and all the things. Thank you so much for being here. In this episode, I am sharing in real time how I process through some deep emotions. By the time you finish listening to this episode, you will have some real actionable steps you can take to allow yourself to feel through very deep emotions, how to process them and dissect them in a way that you can give meaning to those emotions and how to take the lesson from them and then how to move forward. This is a very vulnerable episode. My intention is to be more real, to show up more raw, more authentically, to show you the real me behind the scenes. And that's what this episode is. I had a coach tell me that I need to show up more vulnerable, that I need to show people more of the behind the scenes, less curated, more off the cuff. And so that's what I intend to do. I think that that's where the real lessons are, anyways. And when I was going through these emotions recently, I really just felt this call and this nudge to record myself going through these emotions with the intention of immediately sharing this video on Instagram with you. And of course, my imposter syndrome set in, and I just really started questioning myself whether this was worth it. Does anybody want to hear this? Is anybody interested? I don't know. I don't know if anybody's interested or not. But this is me, and I'm going to share myself fully because I know that the work that I've done on myself in the last 8 to 10 years has been transformational. Learning to process emotions like this, learning to work through the transitions and difficulties that life has thrown my way has been nothing short of a miracle. And I want to share that with you because I know where I was 8, 10 years ago, and I know where I am today, and I know how much different my life is because I decided to do the work, do the inner work. And sometimes we don't know where to start. Sometimes we don't know how to change our circumstances until somebody models that for us. And I don't know if this is going to help you or not, but I'm going to share this because I know that one day you might need this kind of help. You might need some support. You might need some guidance as to how to get through a difficult situation or difficult emotions. So that's why I'm doing this. So I hope this is helpful for you. If it's not, maybe it's helpful for somebody you know. Feel free to share it with somebody you think this may be helpful for. So, what you're going to hear in this episode are 3 video clips that I recorded. And these were video clips that I recorded just off the cuff. I just decided to turn on my phone, my iPhone, and start recording myself. So they are not even done on Zoom. The quality might not be that great. I'm recording this video right now and I've got the sun hitting my face, and it's not going to be the best video, the best quality, but you know what? I think the content is going to be gold. So 3 episodes that I recorded, or 3 videos that I recorded. The first one is me in some real, raw, vulnerable sharing, losing it crying moment of some things that all kind of came clashing together at the same time and just it created this explosion of emotions in me. So you'll hear me talking through that and how I'm beginning to process that moment. The second one is a video where I've already had a chance to kind of sit with the emotions. I think it might have even been recorded later on in that day or maybe the following day. And I had already started to process through the emotions in being present. Now, mind you, being present to me sometimes is just being present while I'm washing dishes, being present while I'm out on my walk, being present while I am vacuuming. and not like listening to something else. I have a habit of constantly learning and constantly listening to audiobooks. I am in masterminds. I am in, my own coaching. And so I have a lot of material to listen to, a lot of learning that I can do, and I'm constantly filling my brain. But in those moments when I know that I need to process emotions or I need to work through something, even though I go about my day, I still go for my walks, I still cook, I still wash the dishes. In those moments, I purposely do not listen to anything. I allow my brain to just rest and to just either be present in the moment, in the vacuuming and the cleaning of the floors, or to just truly think about, okay, what is what is happening for me? Why is this happening for me? So that's what the second episode is. I recorded it. uh, I think I was in the process of vacuuming my house, and I stopped to record a video because I had an aha moment related to the processing of these emotions. And then the third video, uh, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, and if you're not, just know that this is a video also available on YouTube. The third video is once I really had a chance to really kind of come to the conclusion of, oh, this is why this happened for me. This is why these emotions came up for me. There's always a why behind the emotion in terms of some sort of a unhealed part of us that is requesting our attention. Or sometimes it's just a lesson that needs to be learned in the moment. And for me, I think it was both. And you'll see and hear more about it in the episode as it goes along. So yeah. And then of course I think at the end, I will summarize those steps that you can take to process through your emotions, what you can do to allow yourself to feel the emotions in the moment, because we need to allow our bodies to feel those emotions. But also, what do we do from there? What do we do after we feel those emotions? There's something to it. There's a reason why these emotions come up so strongly for us. And sometimes it's an inner child piece of us that needs some nurturing. Sometimes it's an old wound, and sometimes it's a new lesson. So I give you some steps at the end of how to do that for yourself, how to coach yourself through it, basically. To give you some context as to what was happening for me in the moment, I was on my way back from visiting my son in Chicago. My youngest son recently graduated from the Navy boot camp, and I went to the celebration and spent a few days there with him. And so I was on my way back from Chicago. I was on my way to the airport when, um, he texted me to let me know that he was no longer going to be flying back to California the next day as his original orders had indicated. And he was gonna, his next part of the training is happening in San Diego, and which is yay for me because then he'll be so much closer than Chicago. And so he said he was supposed to fly home on Saturday. This was a Friday when I was flying home. And then he said, orders changed. I'm not flying to California on Saturday. I don't know when I'm flying home. I don't know if I'm flying, well, I call it home because it's California's home, but I don't know if I'm still going to San Diego or not. Things are kind of up in the air again. And I really lost it because the orders had kind of been up in the air for a few weeks and there had been no real confirmation for him. And, when you go in thinking you're going to be doing something or working a certain position and that changes, that was very emotional for him. And so, therefore, very emotional for me as a mom. I had very strong emotions about it. because my son was going through these emotions. But also, as I had just arrived to the airport, I was checking my messages and also noticed that my dad's eldest sister had passed away that morning. And so I had some very deep emotions, sadness and grief around that. And so then receiving this news was a double whammy. So I get, as I'm walking to my gate, I am receiving messages that my flight is further and further delayed. So I had started receiving messages the day before that my flight was delayed, by a little bit. And the closer we got to the actual flight time, the more it was getting delayed. And when I arrived at the airport, as I'm receiving this news, I'm also getting notification that my flight is delayed yet again, which means that at this point, my flight is landing at the same time that my connecting flight is leaving. And so I'm like, okay, so I am missing my connecting flight. And, when you're traveling and it's close to the holidays, I think it was, gosh, I can't even remember if it was the week after Thanksgiving. So there's a ton of people at the airport. There's a lot of flights. Weather is crazy. So all these flights are changing. And so I go to the counter and, the Delta tells me, well, I've already put you on a flight home. So you're going to fly now to your next city, which was Salt Lake City. And there you're going to take your next flight tomorrow at noon. So I would be basically there for an additional, it would be like a 12-hour layover or longer. And I just was like, are you kidding me right now? So we looked for some alternate airports to fly into. And if I can avoid LAX, I will avoid it at all costs. In fact, I took that flight out of Ontario, which is a much smaller airport, but much closer to me, to Chicago, even though it was $300 more than flying out of LAX, just because I will avoid LAX at all costs. And so she's like, well, there's a flight leaving in 30 minutes. It's a direct flight, no layover leaving to LAX. I could put you on that flight. And my initial thought was like, oh my gosh, yes, I just need to get back to California. But something told me, just stay. Just stay. Just take your current flight. And she said, if there's any luck and that connecting flight is late, you'll make it. And you never know, right? Like who knows when weather is crazy, you just don't know what's going to happen. And it's the holidays and we're just coming off of a government shutdown. And so, all these flights are popping back up and changing and all this stuff. So I don't know, something told me to just stay. So all these emotions are running through when I'm going through all of this. And lucky for me, the pilot for the connecting flight held the flight from leaving so that those of us that were on connecting flights that were landing right around that time could make that connecting flight. So how amazing was that? So that was the nudge that I listened to as to why I should not have to take that LAX flight. So thank goodness, because then I just arrived at Ontario Airport, which is much closer to home. And then I was home in my own bed within 30 minutes. So I could just cry in my own bed instead of some empty hotel room. So that is the context of what was happening. And so now I'm going to share what that looked like for me in processing those emotions. I'm just going to jump on here and have a real raw moment with you. It's just been an emotional week. If you've been following, you might have noticed that I was traveling for my son's Navy graduation, and I now understand how I just barely understand the tip of the iceberg of what it's like to have a loved one in the military and how emotional that of a like the emotional roller coaster that families live through. And my son is just barely getting started. But it's anything can change from one minute to the next. And, you know, as a mom and, watching my son go through all the ebbs and flows of everything and the changes that they've already thrown his way and his desire of what he wants and the expectations, and watching my son go through that and just how difficult it is to be in that kind of space of uncertainty. I'm like, wow, this is what it's like. This is what it's like. And this is just the beginning for him. So, yeah, military families, like, I'm just barely touching the tip of the iceberg of what it is like to be a military family. And wow, it's hard. Just like watching my son go through just that uncertainty. But anyways, it's just been an emotionally taxing week, as I'm finding out I'm leaving Chicago. I'm literally getting to the airport. My son is like texting me, leaving me messages, basically telling me my orders have changed. I'm not flying home to California on Saturday, meaning today, as originally planned. Orders have changed. I don't know where I'm going or what's happening. So literally the night that he was supposed to be dropped off at the airport to come home to California, things changed and he's still out there. He's supposed to be getting on a plane right now, but that changed. And as I'm getting to the airport and I'm getting this message from him, and I'm like heartbroken for him. And then I get a message that, Aunt passed away. And then I get to the airport and my flight's been delayed and I'm going to miss my connecting flight. So I can't even come home last night. And it just was a mess. By a miracle of God, the captain for the connecting flight in Salt Lake City waited for 14 of us that were on delayed flights. And he held back the flight from leaving for 30 minutes so that we can get on board. And thank God. Because I just wanted to come home and cry in my own bed rather than cry in a hotel room. But I just want to say what I'm coming on here to share is not for pity. It is just to share that sometimes it's just okay to like allow yourself to lose it and just, in fact, it's not just okay. It is like really necessary that we allow ourselves to feel all of the emotions and let those just run through our body and allow ourselves to have a good cry and to process that. And the way to process that is to allow that to move through the body. First of all, allow yourself to have all your feelings. Maybe even say it out loud. Maybe share it with somebody on Instagram or call somebody that can hear you out just to like share it, just to get it off your body. But allow the emotions to move through your body. And that's where I'm at. And the next step is to kind of think just through, okay, how is this serving me? Why is this happening for me? And part of that message so far has been, well, in terms of my son, it's to kind of learn that this is the expectation. This is what is for sure. in his journey in the military for the next 8 years is the uncertainty. So get used to the uncertainty. So, of course, it's a lesson for me as a mom, and it's something I want to share with him as well. That this is the mental aptitude that you need going in, and he's only been in for 2.5 months, and so much has changed. So, yeah, that's my process, and yeah, I know this is long, but I'm just coming on here to share a little bit more and just being more raw. And a lot of people tell me all the time, you're so strong, you always have it together. Mm-mm. Yeah, I'm strong, and I'm kind of tired of being strong sometimes. So, but behind the scenes, really, I allow myself to just really lose it and have all the feels and all the emotions and the anger, and then process through it and just think about why is this happening for me? Why is this happening for my son? And and the more I'm open, the more you're open to that reflection, however that happens for you. If it happens on a walk, if it happens during your cry, if it happens during journaling, or and sharing it out loud with somebody, sometimes we start to get those answers come through. But there's always a lesson behind this, and there's always a reason why our body wants to cry and feel all the emotions. Don't deny your body the right to feel the emotions and to cry and do all the things and to show up raw with ojeras, no recap, hair in a bun. Yeah, process your emotions. I want to take a quick moment because I can't talk about healing, inner child work, boundaries, emotional awareness, trusting your intuition without honoring the thing that helped me get there. This podcast is supported by the Adult Share book, and I'm telling you this not as an ad, but as someone whose life was changed by this work. Michelle Chalfant's Adult Share model was the beginning of everything for me. It helped me become aware of myself, of the patterns I was repeating, of the family cycles I was carrying without even realizing it. It taught me how to sit with my triggers, trace them back to their origin, and transform them instead of reacting from old pain. It helped me understand my inner child with compassion. It helped me strengthen my adult self, the part of me who can respond, not react. And honestly, it opened the door to my spiritual awakening and shaped how I coach today. If you're new to the Adult Chair, here's the quick version. It's a model that helps you identify which chair you're living from: the child, your emotions; the adolescent, your ego and survival patterns; or the adult, your grounded, conscious, empowered self. And the 5 pillars of the model guide you back home every single time. All of this, the model, the pillars, the practices, is now inside the Adult Share book. So if you've been wanting to deepen your healing, or you're looking for a really meaningful gift, or maybe a secret Santa idea that isn't just another candle or coffee mug, get the book. Truly, I highly recommend it. You could find it at bluechakrastudio.com/adult share book, or right there in the show notes. So I'm sharing in real time how I'm processing these emotions, and I'm back at home now and, cleaning up my place, vacuuming. I decided that I'm going to lift my spirits by putting a Christmas tree up. So I went and bought a new Christmas tree because I threw my other one away last year. And what's coming through as I'm thinking through this, as I'm vacuuming, I'm very kind of in this just space of, what's happening with my emotions. And I asked myself, do I need to give meaning to these emotions? Yes, I'm processing the emotions. It's natural, right? Like I've just had this whole stressful day and I'm so sad. and disappointed and upset for my son, but do I have to sit here and like, yes, of course, let the emotions run through my body, but do I have to give them meaning by like thinking about it and processing it and journaling and going through this, doing a video journal about it? And I thought, it's not that I need to give it meaning. It's that there's an inner child inside of me that needs this attention, that needs this comfort, that needs comforting. And one of the things that if you've been listening to like the little ads that I'm running in my podcast episode this month or for the last month, I am advertising the Adult Share book because it has been such an integral part of my healing and growing journey and one of the things that Michelle talks about a lot in her adult chair model is the 3 chairs: the adult chair, the adolescent chair, and the adult chair. Did I say the child chair, the adolescent chair, and the adult chair? The emotions that are coming up for me are from my inner child. So there's something my inner child needs, and I cannot just sit here and be like, okay, it's gone through, done. No, like, let me explore. Like, let me check in with that inner child. What's hurting? What is disappointing? What are these emotions that are coming up for you? So that's the point where I'm at right now in my processing is, what does the inner child need? And so that will be the next thing as soon as I'm done vacuuming, is that I'm going to then take the time to sit with the inner child and see what that inner child needs. But this is what's interesting. What's coming to me as I'm speaking this is, oh, yeah, my inner child needed her emotions to be validated. And I validated that for myself. I allowed myself to feel the emotions and be like, yeah, this sucks. Like, this sucks that you almost missed your flight. Yeah, it's so sad that your aunt passed away. And of course, I went through a little bit of a memory lane process of remembering her and how I spent time with her, and I had some of the gifts that she gave me. And then I went through the process of, what's happening for my son and what that means. But also, okay, what does my inner child need? And it's interesting that without giving that thought or meaning, that inner child needed validation, which I did. And now that inner child needs a little bit of happiness. And that's where me going to Home Depot and buying a Christmas tree and spending more money on it than I had hoped for, but because they're literally running out, I'm like, I have to get a tree. And just to like make it comfy and festive here in case my son does get to come home for the holidays, or if not for me, my inner child wants a little bit of home comfort, lifting of the spirits, and a Christmas tree does that for me. So I'm going to decorate my Christmas tree later, and I'm going to play Elf in the background and have my candles going. Maybe I'll get a little fire going in my fireplace. So that's how I am honoring that inner child right now and processing through this. Okay, so I did some more processing last night. More feelings were coming up, and I decided to sit down and journal and to really take a look at what is my part in all of this. With my son, I have a lot of feelings around it, and with what's happening with my son and the change of orders, and things are still kind of up in the air for him. Anyways, it's all going to be fine. But the point is, I'm having all kinds of feelings, and I'm finding myself, okay, what do I say to him? What do I need to say the right thing to him. I'm in this place where I'm like, I feel like I want him to be okay, and then I will be okay. And I realized when I was journaling last night, oh, my codependency is showing. My job is to be here for him as support and someone to lean on and to be a parent and doing things and trying to say things and trying to send him little messages and texts and voice messages to make him feel okay actually comes from codependency, because I know that when he's okay, I'm going to feel okay. And of course, he's my son, and I got, as parents, we worry, we have that, but there is also a fine line between, okay, where is it my job to like worry, and where is it my job to just be a support? And what I'm noticing, number one, the facts are everything's going to be fine. The facts are that if this thing does not work out with plan A, there's a plan B that is amazing. He just, he has a desire and he wants one specific path, which he's on. He's on track to. And I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, I honestly believe with all my depth and all my soul that that it's going to happen for him and it's going to come through. But, of course, when you're in this waiting period, it's interesting. As I'm saying this out loud, I know it's going to work out the way he wants it to, yet I'm worried because he's worried. And so I'm taking on his thoughts. And right now, I've told him this from day one. I will hold the belief for you, I told him. I will hold the belief for you while you can't. Because he was in high doubt, that the path that he chose was going to work out, that pan out all the way through. And I told him from the beginning, no, this is going to pan out. I feel it. I know it. I believe it. And he's like, oh, I'm not so sure. I said, okay, that's fine. I will hold a belief for you while you go through this and until this comes to fruition. And I need to go back to that. And hold that belief for him. But instead, I'm allowing myself to like get sucked into his feelings and holding his feelings for him. And so that's interesting that I'm processing this now. That's codependency. I'm allowing my codependency to come through. And no, I need to stand my ground and know, number one, the fact is everything's going to be fine either way. Like everything's going to be worked out, and everything, both paths, potential paths right now are great. He wants the one. But the other path was his original choice. So either way, it's working out fine. So, and it's interesting as I'm saying this out loud that I'm processing it. And so that's the conclusion for me, is this has been a lesson for me in releasing and just standing in my power and being that support that he needs, and knowing everything's going to be fine, because it is. Everything is perfectly planned and divinely timed by the universe, by God. And so this is actually perfect. It's actually perfect. So that's where I'm at. And this is why I've chosen to video vlog or whatever you call what I'm doing, my process of processing these strong emotions that I had last week and or over the weekend and share with you what that process is, and that process of, going through those emotions and the meaning behind it, and what are the meaning to all of these emotions that I'm feeling. Um, so yeah, I'm going to summarize it all for you. So there you have it. In real time, how I processed my emotions and kind of took really control of the situation, of the parts that I can't control, which is basically my own reaction. So, to take you through the steps of how you can do this for yourself, how to coach yourself through something like this, through deep emotions, through overwhelm, through stress. Really, you could use this for anything in your life. Apply it. Trust me, just apply it and do it. Um, and things become much easier to navigate. Your life becomes much easier to navigate. So, what are the steps? There are 3 steps. Step number 1, allow yourself to feel the emotions run through your body without abandon. Let them rip. Research shows that it only takes about 90 seconds for your emotions to fully process through your body. So let them move, because it is not a good thing to let them get stuck in your body. It later manifests in more emotional issues and eventually into physical problems. So a lot of the physical ailments that we have today is because of unprocessed emotions that we've just stuffed inside. So every time you feel the need to not cry or not let the emotions run through your body, you're stuffing them down. It is not okay to tell people don't cry. It is not okay to tell people to suck it up, or to tell yourself to don't cry or to not suck it up. You need to let that out of your body. Otherwise, it just gets stuck in there and it's constricted inside your body. Let them run through your body. It only takes 90 seconds. I've done it before. I've shared this in an episode where I grabbed a pillow and just started crying and screaming into it. I've done it before when I've been on hikes out in the wilderness and nobody was around, or at least I thought nobody was, and I just screamed out into the open. So whatever it is that you need to do in this occasion, I just needed to cry. Just sit there and cry by myself. All right, step number 2, share it to get it off your body. Whether you share it with somebody, you call somebody, you share it by journaling to yourself, or share it on a podcast episode with hundreds of people. Why not? Oftentimes, just getting it off your body, just letting it off, just speaking it out loud, just journaling it will help you process and make sense of it. Just like it did for me as I was speaking through it in this episode. Step number 3, ask yourself, why is this happening for me? There is always a reason. There is always a lesson. For me, journaling helped me unpack this when I was first learning to do this work in the very beginning, which was back in 2016. So, wow, it's going to be 9 years already. I'm now more easily able to coach myself through this, to talk myself through this, to get to the bottom of the root. But journaling is your own personal on-demand therapist. There is a lesson in everything we experience. Get curious as to what that is for you with everything that happens in your life. Some of it we are creating ourselves. So let's get curious about why we create some of the things. Obviously, in this situation, everything is out of my control. This isn't for me. That was my lesson. My lesson is I just need to be the rock. In this situation, there was nothing I can do for my son. Obviously, my aunt passed away and the flights that were delayed. The one thing that I did was listen to my intuition and not taking that one flight, because then I would have ended up in LAX and I would have had a 2 to 3 hour drive back home with traffic and construction and all the stuff that happens in LA. So that was it. And then if I'm going to add a step 4, it's going to be to take the appropriate next inspire action and be open to that action being doing nothing. Sometimes we do need to take corrective action for things that we do, for things that happen, for the way that we react. Sometimes it is doing nothing. Sometimes it's processing some more. So maybe it is a 4-step process to processing your emotions. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode, that you get something useful out of it, that you are able to come back to it and use it, whether you're going through something stressful, deep emotions, overwhelm, stress, going through transition. Use this process of processing your emotions. And if you need help, this is what I do in life coaching. This is what life coaching does. This is how I help my clients in our sessions. Most of my clients come to me for business coaching and strategy, but because our businesses and our careers are an extension of us and our energy, it is inevitable that we do life coaching as well in the process. If you are in a place where you need help, some hand holding through processing emotions or going through transitions or overwhelm that you need help with, get in touch with me and let's explore if we're a fit to work together. I decided this morning that I will be opening up 3 spots to work with me in 2026. This is an all year program to truly get some real results, real transformations. This is for someone who is ready to make a complete 180 in their life. You don't even know what that transformation is for you. You just need to know that you are ready for something completely different. If that is you, get in touch with me. Let's talk about what this could look like. It's a full year of coaching, a full program. We will go through every aspect of your life to make the changes and the transitions that you are ready to see, to get you in alignment with the life that you desire, that you've been dreaming of, that you have been vision boarding about and journaling about and dreaming about. Quit dreaming about it. Let's make it happen. It can happen. We can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. And I'm going to hold that belief for you until you are ready to believe it. And if you're ready to move forward, get in touch with me. Share this episode with somebody who can use some help today. Hasta la próxima.